Hey, beautiful souls, welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and I. My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or my live feeds, simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Good morning. Happy Friday. I hope you are all doing very well. I know I said I wouldn't be here Friday morning, but here I am with a little bit of an energy update here. And the energy update was really, really interesting. So, as always, even though I didn't plan on being here, I always sit in meditation every single morning. I just sit, I ask spirit what I need to know, I meditate, I just breathe in the glorious energy that's always all around us. And what came up instantly was spirit whispered to me, be willing to pivot. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Be willing to pivot. Hello, I know, surprise, I'm here. And it was really interesting because I had a little bit of extra time that I didn't think I was going to have. And I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to be able to hop on really quickly this morning and just kind of have a Friday morning chit chat. And I always channel. I just finished saying I always channel whether I'm coming on here live or not. I always sit and just feel the energy, sit with my guides and tap into things. And the first thing that came to me was be willing to pivot. Spirit whispered it to me very softly. Just be willing to pivot. Be willing to say, oh, we're going this way now. Oh, we're going this way now. And during my meditation, when I came out of meditation, I had this alert on my phone. My schedule suddenly changed. So here I am. And I was like, yeah, be willing to pivot. Thank you very much, Spirit. I heard that loud and clear. Um, oh, look at you guys, all happy to be here together. I love it so much. So the rest of of the energy update, it is a very simple weekend. The energy is very simple. It's very even though we have to be willing to pivot, it's a very simple pivot. I don't feel it's going to be big, huge pivots or a weekend where there's going to be a lot of that unstable energy. We are still in a glorious high level of transformation. Like I said in the previous couple lives, right up to April 23rd, that eclipse energy is lingering here in a very delicious way. So transformation and change, and it feels quite gentle. I didn't feel it as that bumpy ride quite often that the winds of change bring us in. It feels quite gentle. It feels quite soft. But what came to me was, and this is really interesting, is acknowledge yourself, and then spirit whispered, remember who you are. Remember who you are. That loving soul that is here to learn, that is here to experience, that is doing their best on their journey, acknowledge that. And when I feel the acknowledgement energy, it usually means that we need to kind of support ourselves in a very gentle, loving way to be able to say, I'm doing my best here today, and to be able to acknowledge that and to be able to self support. We are so good. We are so good at being able to support other people. We're very loving. We're very kind. We're very gentle with other people who are going through their own learning processes. But I was reminded today to share with you that that also has to come back into you to be able to support and acknowledge yourself. And I love your shirt. Forgot the name. Oh, the monkey, and it says positive vibes. I do love this monkey from The Lion King. I don't know his name either, but I do think he's quite cute. But being able to acknowledge yourself now, when we navigate through things, and this is kind of like the permission, we need a lot of permission here in the physical world. Just permission to pause, permission to be, permission to acknowledge yourself, permission to support yourself. Remember who you are. For whatever reason, when spirit gives me things, I myself don't always understand it. In that red hot moment, very often I'm like, okay, noted. What, I don't quite know why, but I'm taking note of that. Be okay with that pause. If you're uncertain with the transformation energy that's coming at you, or if you're uncertain with a few things, it's okay to wait. And and spirit was very clear with that. It's okay to wait and let things settle. It's okay to wait and just kind of say, okay, I'm not quite ready for that step yet. Now I am. Right? It's okay to kind of navigate through that. And, when we go through our own change and our own transformation, and every single one of you here that has been joining me for, the last, well, I think it's almost 2 years, but every single one of you here has been going through your own growth and going through your own change and going through your own processes. And, remember to support yourself and remember to acknowledge how you're doing. And sometimes, I'll say to spirit, man, it feels like I'm taking the hard way. I'm taking the hard way. The learning isn't always easy. The learning isn't always instant. The learning doesn't always unfold in an understanding. And it's okay to acknowledge that, and it's okay to say I'm doing my best. So I really feel that when spirit gives me something, there's always a reason for that. And I always practice what spirit gives me. What I share here with you, I practice in my own on my own day, in my own week. I really lean in there. So that self-support, it needs, and when you think about that, yes, it is great. It is fantastic to have support from other people. It feels so good to be supported. But we also have to support ourselves. We also have to be able to, own our stuff, own our learning. We have to be able to, say, you know what, Lana, you did the best that you could with that, or you need, or here's something that I can work on. We need to be able to self-support, and it's our journey anyway, so it does make a lot of sense. But we tend to forget to lean back in, and these next couple days, whatever you need, make it happen. Make it happen. If even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just, it's really busy this weekend, but I'm gonna find a moment to put my feet up, or a moment to ground myself, or a moment to just breathe, or a moment to cry. What excuse me, whatever it is that you need. I also feel some restlessness during our sleeping time. So I'm curious to know if some of you had trouble sleeping last night, or if staying asleep has been a little bit of an issue, because there is a little bit of that overthinking with this transformation energy that's coming in. Some of us may be overthinking that. Overthinking, am I making the right yes, I couldn't sleep well. There we go. Thank you for the validation on that. Um, with the self acknowledgement and self support, I feel like that sleep issue will settle down quite nicely. I felt it as that transformation of overthinking, of over wanting to know, of that over processing during our time of rest. Rest is really important. I get reminded of that all the time with spirit, because I have a very high energy. I'm always wanting to do things. I'm always wanting, let's go. And sometimes spirit will say, just wait a minute now. You're leaning too much the other way. And when we do that, as soon as we try to sleep, our brain is so used to being in that fast pace that we overthink. Overthinking is my middle name. Anyone else having internet issues? Hopefully you're not. If I'm a little choppy, please let me know. I'm not seeing it on my end. Even though the weather isn't great today, but I think I'm okay, internet wise. But when it comes to that restless sleep or that trouble sleeping, just take a few moments that you can sit with that energy before you go to bed, rather it be journaling, or rather it just be breathing, or rather it be the acknowledgement. It's, it's a big acknowledgement energy that's this weekend. So if you're having trouble sleeping in the next couple days, try sitting with the acknowledgement energy and the self support. Just sit in that a little bit. I'm going to self support, or self soothe, or acknowledge myself with how I'm doing on my journey. It can be that simple. And it felt like a very simple thing. And like I said, a big part of it is the transformation energy. And if you look at yourself, or if you look at other people around you, are you seeing a lot of big changes, or some transformation changes? Are you seeing, even if it can be with that, it doesn't have to be great big bang, things are changing, but perhaps you're transforming your thought processes. Perhaps you're changing how you're looking at things. Perhaps you're transforming into wanting something new, or trying to manifest new things. Just support yourself in that acknowledgement. For whatever reason, spirit was like on repeat with that. I was like, okay, give me something else. I hear you. No, acknowledge. So I literally had to sit and acknowledge my own processes and my own growth and my own directions. And spirit would not move off of that for me. So when spirit will move off into a different subject, I really have to emphasize it, acknowledge, support, remember who you are. And I think we struggle with that sometimes in the physical world. We really do. How many of you can with confidence really acknowledge who you are? Just sit for a minute and try and acknowledge some really good things about yourself. Try and go through the list and feel your comfort level, or feel how uncomfortable you are. Say it out, try saying it out loud. See how you feel about that. I'm just curious if anybody, or if some of you struggle with being able to do that, because for me that'll be a key indicator of the work that we need to really listen to this weekend. Um yeah, so that is, I can, took me a while to get there, but I can. Good job. Um Continue with that practice, with being able to acknowledge. We're so afraid, of, oh, what if the ego kicks in, and what if this uncomfortable, says Kayla, the energy of shame takes over my mind. There you go, Kayla. So there you go. So remember who you are, Kayla. Remember that you're doing the best that you can. I can't take a compliment from someone else. There it is, Fran. There it is. There is no way I'd be able to take a compliment from myself. Yes, there is. There is a way. Start with something really small, just start complimenting yourself really small. And you know what? I didn't sleep in today. Like, literally take something really small. It's interesting when you think about that space and the shame that gets pulled in. That is an indicator of where a little bit of our spiritual work needs to kind of have a little bit of TLC. Where do you need TLC? Because I can tell you right now, Fran, I know you. You are an amazing person, Fran. So feel that for yourself, acknowledge that for yourself, right? And whatever comes to you as I'm talking like that, or whatever comes to you, are you having that moment of, well, no, I'm not, right? Where do you go with that? Because you need to acknowledge in order to be able to self-support. Talk to yourself like you would other people that come to you with needing that acknowledgement or needing the support. It's a very simple concept. However, some of us are going to struggle with it. So, and that's an indicator of, I just need to remember who I am. Very, very gentle. I need to remember who I am. I do have indeed the hesitation every once in a while. It's not my ego, but I usually am able to flip through the pattern fairly quickly and say, no, I'm not allowed to be confident and proud. Be proud of who you are. And yes, we all have shadow work to do. 100%, we all have things that we are continuing to work on. That's why we're here on a journey. We're not here for an hour. We're here on a journey. Like, we've all been here a little bit. It's a journey, it's a learning, it's being able to express that. Now, is there, I think that we really are too afraid of ego. I really do. I think, yes, there can be, harsh parts of ego, and yes, our ego can teach us as well. We can work with that ego part of us, and being, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of ego energy if you're using it in a very good way, right? If you're using it, like, if I'm tapping into acknowledging myself and feeling good about myself, and I'm still staying humble and loving towards other people, how is that wrong? I think sometimes we overshame the whole ego piece too. Oh, that's your ego. Well, no, I am a good person, right? You see the difference. You see how that just feels really weird to me when we say, "Oh, that's your ego." No, 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 no. Wait a minute. You are a good person. You are trying your best. It's okay to acknowledge that, right? Yeah, a dark side would be, to me, and this is, take it or leave it here, but a dark side to me would be if I went too far the other way, where I thought I was better than you. That's to me, that's more of a judgment. That's more of a shaming other people. But to be able to say, who am I, in a loving way, and acknowledge that, to me, that's not a dark side of ego. That's being able to acknowledge that we don't come here to be shamed and belittled for having to learn, right? And it comes back to that little toddler exercise, that our thought process. If you're seeing a little baby learning to walk and they trip and fall, we don't say, get up, dum dum. Like, we don't do that. So why do we do that with ourselves? right? Just feel into that, and if, and as always, I respect your thoughts and your opinions. As always, I always do. But I think that sometimes we take the whole ego piece just a little, like we're so afraid of that, and it's you matter too. And I think that that's really important. You matter too in all of it. The other thing that comes with that, and ooh, Spirit just gave me that space, that a sentence here, or some information on that. Sometimes when we okay, I'm just having a listen. I'm going to be channeling here as I speak. Sometimes what we do is we're so afraid of that acknowledgement, and then it offsets boundaries. It even with our own personal boundaries, it offsets that, because when we acknowledge that we're doing the best that we can, when you acknowledge that you're here, having an experience, and you're learning the best that you can, and I feel good about myself. It doesn't leave a big open space for other people to come in with boundaries and being able to shame and being able to finger point and be it offsets that, right? When you know who you are, it automatically has just an instant vibration of I'm confident with where I'm at, and it pushes back that judgment, it pushes back that shame, it pushes back. And people are always going to have their opinion anyway, and it's okay, right? It truly is okay. Let them. And Spirit just gave me that. Let them. If you're worried about other people, let them think what they want to think. You can't change it anyway, right? Like we don't have to prove. You don't have to prove who you are. You need to be okay with who you are, and know who you are, and remember who you are. Wow. All right. I'm gonna scroll up. I don't have a ton of time, but I do have some. Um, Maruna, I've been so emotional lately. I've been let down gently from a job, and I'm trying to hold my head high. Good for you. To hope for a better change in life. So, Maruna, we've been talking about some of the transformation changes, and so one thing that the universe is saying is it's time to go this way. It's very gently, it's time to go this way. And we do struggle with, was it something that I've done? I'm going to ask you this. You don't have to answer it, obviously, Maruna, but did you steal or beat anybody up? No, you didn't. It's time for you to go this way. And it's probably been coming in for a little bit. There's probably been little subtle things, moments where you've been really dissatisfied and unhappy there. And you just kind of hung on and hung on. Now the universe is just saying, go it's okay. Go that way. Chin up, right? Chin up. You did the best that you can, and there was lots of good that happened there as well. Oh, somebody knows the name of the monkey. Thank you, Haley. I love that. Um, but Shaw, yesterday. I went through a major disassociation moment, followed by suddenly contacting my future self. I love that. I love that, and being able to tap into that energy is delicious. My husband will be changing positions to remote. I'm hoping this will allow us to move abroad in the next 2 years. I literally got very excited with that. As I was reading that, I got very excited. I also feel though, and I just have to kind of add a pinch of balance with that. So I don't know if your husband tends to go too far the other way, but I feel like with working from remote, I feel like I'm just gonna have to very gently whisper in his ear just to keep things in balance. Sometimes we can over isolate when we work remote. So just remember that I said it because it's coming up for a reason. Just remember that I've got to include when he's working from remotely, when he would normally take a break, he needs to literally leave the desk and literally go up and look at the sky, or just go out to the step and just take a big breath in. I just feel like I don't want him to lose himself in working remote. So, and I just seen, because I seen my scale, my balancing the scale there. But I do feel that it's definitely going to open up a lot of doors. I'm also a little bit pushed back a little bit. I think it might be a little bit shorter than the 2 years, because I literally had to be pushed back. So I'll leave that there with you. Kayla, does Spirit have any messages for me? Kayla, I really, really, Spirit just pointed down to my paper. I really feel that over the weekend, just insert a little bit of that acknowledge and self support. It's just a pinch. It's just a pinch that will help you. I also feel that it comes from within, more so than from them. It comes in with more of hold yourself, like just lovingly hold yourself a couple moments over the weekend. Our dog is down in her last couple years. Any tips in preparing my son for her passing? Um, One of the things, and I think this goes into even with people. So this knowledge or this support can even be passed into helping your son. I'm just listening. There's a lot of spirit around you that's helping you with this Horizon Phoenix. Being able to talk about it is the biggest thing. We don't talk about death, right? I mean, maybe some of you do, but the majority of us don't. I've seen that in my nursing career for years and years and years and years. We don't talk about it. We don't talk openly about the process. We don't talk about, and we're all here, with an expiry date. We're all leaving. I can promise you that. Well, and I say that with a chuckle. I know I have a very different outlook on death, but we don't. We're so afraid of it, right? We're afraid to talk about it. We're afraid to plan for it. We're afraid. And I think when we start talking about it, you don't necessarily have to specifically talk about the dog leaving here, but I think in general, I think, and depending on how old your son is, you can start using, like, for example, if there's a worm that's passed outside, like died outside, or a plant that's died, using that as an introduction into talking about about people and about animals, and then just having general conversations, with keeping it light, because you also don't want to create this fear of death either, right? So I think being a little bit more open and sharing your thoughts on what happens when we die, and then very gently inserting that into making it, that animals pass too. We avoid the whole conversation with that. I also feel that I do this with a lot of the younger people that I work with grief, when they're dealing with grief, is really tapping into giving them a way of acknowledging that they're still here. And again, depending on the age of the person, you can start with that star represents so and so. They're always with us. They're always helping us. They're always lighting the way. It's just about inserting simple conversations about that, right? And it's about, I mean, death is, I wouldn't say death is talked about with me and my family all the time, but it's talked about, and acknowledged a lot. And there's no fear with it, right? Because it's part of, and I always say, looking at it this way, when a baby arrives, we prepare with celebration. We know there's a baby shower or a gender reveal, or people come with gifts, or we're so happy for the couple that's having the baby. And we don't talk about how we want to celebrate the end of our physical world journey here. So that celebrating people along the way on their journey is also a huge help too. And I get it, you guys. Us humans, we struggle with that, but when we start to make it part of a normal conversation, it's going to take away a lot of that heaviness, right? All right. And thank you for all your questions here today, you guys. A lot of acknowledgement on the sleep issue. Yeah. Um, I get pulled into the now, so it's best to enjoy the years with your dog. Absolutely. But I don't I'm gonna slightly respectfully, lovingly shy, add that I feel that when we don't prepare until the time comes, there's a big shock. There's a big shock, right? Especially with younger people. I think being talking openly about what happens, holding the space if your son wants to talk about, has any questions, it can be very simple. I feel that the shock factor, because I see the other end of it with people with grief, where they've never had conversations with people, or they didn't have a belief system, and it hits them like a brick wall. Because they never had a moment to process that we're all leaving here, whether it be pet or human. And absolutely enjoying the power of now, but balancing that with some discussion, um that all dogs cross the rainbow bridge. Like, having those discussions is such a powerful tool, because younger people don't think about leaving here, like they about their parents leaving here, about grandparents leaving here, about their animals leaving here, and then they're left unprepared. And it's like poof, we're all leaving here one day. When we prepare, and just think about your own journey, when you're prepared or have your head wrapped around something, it gives you a different coping mechanism. Because when people are grieving, it's really hard because they're grieving to have a whole other conversation about we're all leaving here. Right. So when it's a natural discussion, and when we naturally talk open about it, just think about for a moment. I'll try not to get too personal here, but think about for a moment our grandmothers on how they never talked about female issues. It was something that was never ever talked about. You got your cycle. No, oh, you found out that last minute. It was really hard on them. And it was the same thing with menopause, right? And now our younger people, I mean, I'm involved with youth and sports, and I'll tell you right now, they are very open because we've made it okay to be open about, our cycles, and reproduction and genders. We have these conversations much better now because we've learned from it, right? We've learned that being ashamed of certain things doesn't serve us, right? It's just learning. I mean, it's just the natural process of learning things in the physical world to do things a bit better. It's the same thing with death. It's the same thing with death. It's the same, being able to have those open conversations so there's not that sudden shock factor. I hope that that resonates. When the dog does pass, or with anybody passes, it really helps with honoring them, right? Just honoring them once they're gone. They will navigate through that. I hope that that helps there. Um, where are we here? Oh, a lot of you now, was you overthinking, eh? Tammy, wondering if there's any messages for me today. Tammy, I feel that there's been just this expansion here for you. I just felt like I just felt like a crack open. And I also feel, Tammy, I feel like a father figure has been guiding you. So a father or father figure has been really supporting you and guiding you a lot lately. I'm also, something very significant. The month of June is coming to me, significant anniversary, birthday, or passing. But I feel like the relationships with people who have passed and people who are around you have been shifting and growing and changing. And it feels very good to me. I just have to kind of lift off a little bit of that worry energy, though. I get it. We all have worries. We all have, things that we're, processing and learning about. I just have to give you a way of just being able to lift it off a little bit, if that resonates there with you. Um, okay, I read some of those when we were talking about it. Don't make me weepy, Lana. I'm driving. Keep your eyes on the road, Fred. Keep your eyes on the road. Um, Mandy, we are the hardest on ourselves. I'm worthy of love. A loving person. I'm allowed to believe in myself. Change your vibration to a higher one. Yeah, shift it. Shift it. And I think, it's also okay, to acknowledge the parts of me that are still learning, right? And because I balance that too, because I think and that is very, very, very well written, Mandy. You are allowed to believe in yourself. Absolutely. And it's also okay when we struggle with. I'm very gentle in how I talk to myself. I'm very gentle with it. I know, Lana, you're learning that, and that's some hard learning, right? So because I feel like we've got to keep that in balance too. So when things get tough, I'm worthy of learning this lesson, even if it's the hard way, right? It just helps with that shift, and it helps us understand that, yeah, we're not always going to get score 100% here in the physical world. Sometimes we're going to score 40, right? So, and I say that with a little bit of a chuckle because we've all been there. Every single one of us has been there where it's like, it wasn't, what I mean, like that. What was it? Yeah, I didn't do that well, but you're worthy of the learning. I'm worthy of that learning. All right. Wow. If you need to be open about private things, come to the Netherlands. Yes, yes, it's very, very open, a very open mindset there. Absolutely. My mom always said that you need to raise your kids with a belief in something so that when times are tough, they have something to fall back on. Absolutely. And it's having that openness and that preparedness, right? All right. You're welcome, Tammy. Keep looking at that shirt. Somehow I find it fits you so well. So I do love the vibration of fun. I really do. Loved your channeling video from a few days back. I was able to connect and receive so much advice. I love that. Fantastic. That was something that I wanted to talk about. So, Jolton, thank you very much for bringing my attention back to something that I wanted to talk about. Some of you here today were on when we did the channeling exercise or practice or opportunity. I'm just curious if you have felt a little bit more connected, or if you've had a chance since then to tap back in. Was there a little bit of a shift? Or did you receive any knowledge? Or if anybody's watched that video, has anything shifted for you? I'll give you all a moment to answer that while I kind of tap in here to a few questions. And I'm also curious. I'm being pulled here, but by spirit. Is anybody that's watching the live currently, is anybody struggling with a right shoulder pain or a shoulder injury? I'm really aware of it's my right side. I'm really aware of my right shoulder, and it's not mine. So I'm wondering if it belongs to somebody here. I feel like it belongs to a living person. Um, yes, Lana, I feel like I can get back into my routine. I started working out again. Very good. Joy. Okay, so Joy, with this right shoulder pain, is it worse today? I almost feel like I can't move it. Like I go to move it and I can feel it. Is it worse today or is it new? I'll give you a second with that, Joy. Now, as always, I don't give medical. This is not medical advice. I'm just being pulled in to talk to you about that, Joy. I also just need a little bit more validation. So, Joy, is the month of August significant anniversary, birthday, or passing for you as well? Joy, so August, I'm seeing the number 8. So either the 8th of the month or the month of August being very significant. Joy, yes, I'm on a maximum medication today. Okay, thank you very much. I'm just gonna let Joy, if you guys can just let Joy correspond back and forth with me without any other messages in between, and then I'll try to scroll up and grab a few more before I go. Um, Joy, and yes, and again, I don't give medical advice, but I just really feel that with this shoulder, I feel like I've got to get it checked again. So I don't know if you haven't had it checked recently, or if there's something changing with this. Yes, August is my grandmother's birthday. Thank you, Joy, for the validation. That I appreciate that so much. Just give me a moment, you guys. Just let Joy talk back and forth with me because I don't want to miss something here. And my daughter's birthday. Okay, that's very significant. Joy, with this shoulder, my awareness is at it. So big time. So for me to feel your shoulder, I don't even know where you live or who you are, I don't think. To maybe be able to feel that, to know that it's worse today that you're on maximum medication, that August is very significant to your grandmother's birthday and your daughter's birthday. I really feel like that my attention here is for a big reason. I feel like I've got to get it checked again. And it's not to scare you. At all. I feel like it's going to heal and be okay, but I feel like either it's being overused or physically everybody else is going first. Are you looking after everybody first and not really looking after this shoulder? Because I really feel I've got to talk to you about that. And I don't normally, I don't have any shoulder issues. I can move my arm perfectly fine. I'm feeling it spiritually and energetically. So I just have to say, Joy, please look after that shoulder and get it checked. It's in my awareness big time. I also have a message from your grandmother. Oh, she's lovely, by the way. She's lovely, by the way. She's got this. She's got this really interesting way with light beams. So I don't know if you've been seeing like flashes of light or like lines of light. She's showing you that she's got everybody in their own lane. She's very organized with the living people and helping. And I chuckle because she's chuckling. She wants you to know everyone's okay. Right. She's got these lines of light. Very interesting on how she's showing that to me. Also with the lighting, just kind of keep acknowledging it. So if you're seeing flashing lights or flickering light, Joy, or light in the sky, it's her. It's her. She's really reaching out with things are going to be okay. Joy, I've been to physio yesterday and I told my husband I had the idea that he made it way worse and it is something completely different than what they're working on. So Joy, this is a push. Okay, so this is a push, hunt for you to follow that you have this feeling, or it's a push. Don't ignore the shoulder. Okay, don't not that you're ignoring it, but don't write off your spidey senses on there's something else. Yes, she is. I love that, Joy. Such amazing validation with spirit. They're just. I love them so much. I do. I do. I love them so much, and that I love spirit so much. Okay. Let's just grab a couple here. Wesley, when I purchased the outside line that my friend and I will use, I got pulled right into this phone number. Was that spirit? Wes, you are very open and you are very spirit guided. So absolutely. Luminous. I did watch the channeling video and kept getting a message of sand. Just plain old sand. Not sure why. Unfortunately, I was laying down and fell asleep halfway through. I always say, what does what does the sand mean for you? I feel a very grounded energy with that. I feel like it's like just grounding you, getting you to connect deeper into the earth, being able to just allow yourself to feel that grounded energy. You're very welcome, Joy. She showed up as a robin last week, and the light flashes I thought were auras. There you go, from migraines, but that's my grandma. That's why I didn't get a headache. There you go. Absolutely. She's coming to you with light. A lot of light in many different ways. Like it's fascinating. All right, so let us wrap up here, you guys. Let's do the angel number book. Let's just all kind of focus our intention. 321. Do you have any concerns to the ascended masters, such as the saints, angels, Jesus, Buddha, and so forth? And they will replace your fears with faith. Surrender. That's a message of surrender, right? Um, I'm not done with the angel book. I feel like I need another one. 203. All of your powers are heard. Oh, sorry. All of your prayers are heard and answered. The more you believe this, the better and the faster outcome. Trust. I love that so much. I'm not pulled yet. You guys got to set some intentions in here. What do we need to know? There we go. Or I'm not sure what this. Okay, so it's a monkey. Or Anguttan. Orangutan. It's really funny that it's a monkey and I'm wearing a monkey shirt. I'll show you guys. Well, there we go. To accomplish what you set out to do, put on your best face to get the job done. Pay close attention to the expressions on the faces of those you deal with and trust what you see more than what you hear. Whatever your needs are, do your best to be creative and use the available resources you find in your immediate surroundings. It's best to have more fruit in your diet on a regular basis in order to create a healthier physical balance. That's funny. Orange U10. Thank you very much, Wes. There are times when I've been channeling that it really, you can see the adjustment period back into the physical world. And I'll touch base on that for a minute. I think, like with me, with how I channel, when I go back and forth, sometimes I feel that. Like that's why I don't always read the comments when I'm channeling, because I can't function in both. So I often feel that wobble in from physical world to channeling, because I was just channeling for all of you, but I was channeling for joy, right? So when I come back and forth, which is why I'll often, sometimes I stutter, sometimes I have to think about my words in the physical world, because I'm going back and forth. I'm going back and forth. And there's nothing I can really do social media wise with that. I'm much better at balancing and finding that ground, that physical world space. It used to be incredible. It used to be very, very obvious. Now there's no difference between, like, if I was channeling on a stage for you guys, it may be a little less subtle, but you can usually see that Oh, she's physical world. Oh, she's spirit dimensions. People will often say to me, "Your eyes really get glazy when you're channeling, or your hands change color." It's just the back and forth from physical to spiritual. Because I'm crossing over dimensions, especially if we're working that way. If spirit is coming to me, if I'm sitting here and it's like, oh, there they are. If they're coming to me, it's very different. But if I'm over there, you can see the back and forth. It's kind of fun. Um, wow, I asked about trust issue I'm having with certain person. Thank you. And I think, Mandy, trust is a big one. And quite often, if we're shown something, we will see the repeat lesson. So, have you had trust issues quite often on your journey, or is this new? Right? Because I feel like, trust is something that's huge. If I mean, it's a foundation in relationships, even with relationships with spirit. For my mentoring students here, when I start teaching a beginners right through to advanced mediumship, it's the trust. If it's a huge, huge energy. It's a huge word, right? And it's a big one. Joy, oh, my husband will not believe this. Amazing. Bless his heart. Big hugs to him. I hope you all have a great weekend. Um, I'm not quite sure now that my plans have been adjusted and tweaked on how this will work for me. I'm just going to allow it. Thanks for hanging out with me this Friday morning. I do hope that you enjoyed your time here with me and with everybody else. As always, I'm wishing you love, light, blessings, and have a spirit guided time. Take care, everyone. Much love.